The things I do for these vlogs! Ow! I've stood around the harbour wall as far as I can go now. Made it. Everything's south from here on in. Oh, it's horrible. Horrible and cold. Woo! I made it back safely. So welcome to the channel. I explained in my last vlog I was going to do a tour around Scotland, and I did it. For those of you new to the channel, my name's Ben. I'm a landscape photographer, bit of a YouTuber, and yeah, I want to sort of share my experience about going up into Scotland doing landscape photography. What I'm going to do is show you parts of the video and sort of come back to you, sort of talking face to face if you like. The reason for this is the wind and the weather conditions were just absolutely horrendous throughout most of our trip over there, and it was very difficult to sort of get the camera set up and certainly record any sound. The sound that was coming through was similar to what you've just seen, muffled, awful really, and that's just basically due to the high winds. So throughout this video I'd like to give you my sort of interpretation of the NC500, the trip that starts in Inverness, that goes all the way around the top end of Scotland and then finishes in Inverness again. We probably did about 80% of the journey. We sort of stuck to most of the NC500, but because of our hotels we were sort of zigzagging, so what was meant to be a 500-mile trip once we got into sort of Inverness actually turned into about 700 miles from there. The aim was to do this on a budget as well. The last few times I've gone away we've stayed in sort of like reasonably priced hotels, and I've been really disappointed with the service we've got, certainly with the whole of the way the world is at the moment. I just felt that we needed something a little bit different. So myself and Sarah sat down, we sort of discussed what we wanted to do and what we wanted to get out of this trip. So the idea we came to was to book non-expensive accommodation that was a little bit quirky. So within that idea we managed to book ourselves a boutique hotel, a couple of bed and breakfasts, a living sort of shared house place, and a log cabin, which were all absolutely fantastic. So our journey started from Warrington, which they normally do, and we headed all the way up to Helensburgh, which was an idea of Sarah's to book this boutique hotel somewhere that she'd seen online. I'm so glad she did, because to get from that hotel to the next stop was another 4 or 5 hours, and it would have meant possibly around about 10 hours driving, which is a little bit too much. We'd only booked a week to do this journey, and in hindsight it's probably not long enough. What we should have done is actually done 2 weeks, and the reason for this, we felt it was too much of just getting up in the morning, getting in the car, travelling a ridiculous amount of hours in the car, getting to the location, having dinner, sleeping, and rinse repeat the following day. So yeah, we just felt as if we were too busy moving from one hotel to the next. 2 weeks would have actually broken this down. What we should have done is actually stayed in the same locations but over 2 nights. As I've sort of touched on, one of the biggest challenges we had was the amount of driving, the amount of time actually sat behind the wheel. I did all the driving. It's not because Sarah can't drive, it's because I personally don't mind it. I'm a driver, I can do endless amounts of miles with no issues. One of the things we had to think about as well is what car we were going to take. Now fortunately I've got a choice of 3 cars, my old sports car, which although it would have done the journey nicely and the boot's big enough, I think it would have been a little bit cramped to have continued to do all that mileage within the little sports car. The second was Sarah's compact car, which again, yeah, would have done it quite easily, but no, it was a little bit too small, certainly with all the luggage. The obvious choice was the Zavira. Yeah, the dad wagon, the big station wagon, whatever you want to call it, plenty of room, 7-seater, no issues whatsoever. The beauty with that car as well, with it being a diesel, it's fairly economical, but it's also quite powerful as well. So it was never challenged with any of the roads. That was one of the good things about this journey. It was obviously you're going up quite steep roads, and that car fully laden with all the camera gear, our clothes, us two, and everything else that Sarah decided to pack. Yeah, the car didn't face any issues at all, and it's fairly economical as well. I was doing about 45 miles to the gallon, which when you're stopping and starting around these country roads, I don't think it's too bad. So I'm going to leave you now with the video. Hope you enjoy it. I will be cutting in a couple of times throughout the video just to sort of explain a few bits and pieces, and yeah, enjoy. Now the weather is absolutely gloomy, pouring it down. Yeah, I've had torrential rain all the way, in fact all the way up from Warrington yesterday. Today's no different. We've got really dark clouds, real mood and drama in the sky, so it should be quite good to get some images throughout today. So we're going to stop off at this waterfall, sort of see what's around here, and then we're going to head over towards Glencoe, further up the road. It's about another 2 hours up the road, and yeah, see what we can get. You probably can't hear me because of the rush of the water behind, but I'll try my best. So I'm just taking a couple of shots now of the main waterfall here. It's absolutely idyllic here, it's gorgeous. It's got this really dark black water almost, with this cascading white of the water as it hits the rocks. Absolutely gorgeous. I'm currently shooting a third of a second f11 ISO 100, and yeah, it just seems to be giving me enough of a long exposure. I've also got the polarizing filter on the front as well, just to give me a little bit of time in that water, just to try and get a bit of a streak coming down, but not looking like old woman's white hair sort of rushing down, just a bit of movement in the water. So yeah, hopefully these images will be working, but wow, what a glorious spot. As I said in my previous vlog, this is going to be my first time really going out and doing photography in Scotland, and yeah, when we went to stay over in the place last night, I was just thinking, is this what Scotland has to offer? But no, today has really changed my mind. So that looks like it's the first location already done in Scotland. Farlick Falls, if anybody's interested. So we're heading back to the car now, and this is what today's trip's going to be about, or this week's trip's going to be all about. Just finding these little unique locations. Yes, I'm going to go for the cliche shots. Yes, I'm going to do the usual sort of stopping around Glencoe and stuff, and try and get a few images around there. But it's all about just discovering new things. And I suppose in some ways as well, it's about sort of venturing out with photography and trying to get something that I would probably never normally get. See what happens with that. So as you can probably tell by that video that the weather conditions just weren't perfect. Obviously I've mentioned that a few times as well. As we headed up towards Glencoe, I was sort of really quite excited, but also apprehensive as well. Because the weather conditions were so sort of gloomy, and the low level cloud, it was almost like a heavy drizzle we were driving through constantly. I was wondering what we'd actually see. But it works out that the conditions like that actually are better. I think with Glencoe, you don't want perfect sunrise, sunsets. You need this dark, moody, yeah, heavy sort of clouds just lingering across all the mountains, and we certainly got that this day. think it's one of those vlogs where I'm going to be drying the gear off every couple of minutes. It's absolutely miserable out there. We just stopped off. We're just probably on the top part of where you head down towards Glencoe. Just done a bit of a shot. There's a cottage with the mountain in the background. I'm not sure what mountain it is, but yeah, it's been a quick dash out whilst the weather sort of breaks up a little bit, but it's just gone absolutely horrendously misty. You can probably tell there, I've still left the tripod outside. So yeah, just sort of yeah, getting a bit of respite in the car. We're going to head down into to Glencoe now, sort of see what we can get, and yeah, so far so good. It's just very difficult in these conditions. I think the mist and the driving rain is just making everything completely sodden. Yeah, so it's just a case of trying to keep it dry as much as I can as we go along, but yeah, so far so good. So my first thoughts on Glencoe, I absolutely loved it. If you've never been, you need to go. It's absolutely glorious. That road that goes down with the mountains either side, there's nothing like it. I've been to many sort of locations in the Lake District in North Wales. They've kind of been similar, but just not a patch on what Glencoe has to offer. The only downside I had, I didn't expect it to be so busy. Now bearing in mind it was sort of late October, so yeah, the fall colours are there. I expected a lot of photographers there, but it was extremely busy, certainly for a Monday morning. And as we drove through, there was quite a bit of traffic going through as well, which is fine, everything was moving, but trying to find a parking space and actually trying to do any photography around Glencoe, no, you kind of need to park up and spend quite a bit of time there, possibly a full day. And as we didn't have that luxury, it was a case of pulling the car over, jumping out, handheld, click, click, click. Yeah, sort of touristy sort of shot. So I'll show a couple of those now, see what you think. But yeah, they're certainly not fully thought out compositions. So we made it to our second stop last night, a place called Newton Moor. This originally was going to be our first stop, and I'm so glad it was. I'm so glad we stayed over the night before elsewhere and sort of travelled through, because it gave us a lot more time to get through Glencoe and yeah, just sort of head up through the roads. And as you can probably tell by the weather yesterday, it was absolute torrential rain most of the day. So by the time we got here, it was absolutely drowned out. We just kind of needed to get here. We got here around about 6 o'clock last night, and it was just going dark. So we've headed into town, got something to eat, and then came back here. And this place is like a lovely guest house. It's like a shared house, almost like a bed and breakfast. And it's right in the middle of nowhere. When I say it's in Newton Moor, it's about 4 or 5 miles outside of the town. And when I say there's nothing around, there's nothing around. Last night we stood outside and it was just completely quiet. Absolute place that dreams are made of. What's quite rare as well in Scotland, you might be able to tell by the light of my face, the sun's actually out. So we've just been told by the owner that there's a river just at the bottom. We didn't see it last night because it was completely dark. So we're going to have a wander down there. So if there's any images to be had from there, I'll show them now. As predicted, it's got a little bit dark, and yeah, the threat of rain is certainly above us. So we're just, so I'm just trying to get myself over this path. So we're just heading down towards the river now, and I'm not sure there's going to be much to add on this form of images. It's just a massive landscape. But wow, it actually makes you feel that big. And I think that's the thing so far with Scotland. It's actually making me feel very small, sort of very vulnerable. When you're driving through these mountains with this weather that's sort of looming around, there's nothing like it at all. So I'm just sat in the foliage at the moment, just waiting for the light to come across here. I've got the river that sort of snakes through this valley with hills either side, and then on the distance another hill. I'm not sure what they're called, I'm not even sure where we are, but the dark clouds just over in the distance as well. Now the sun is threatening just to make a brief appearance, so I'll have to be quick on this one, but yeah, it's absolutely glorious. Glorious just sitting here and just trying to soak it all in. Many a time we sort of concentrate on the cameras and just making sure that we've got the right shot, but sometimes you just need to sit there, look at the surroundings and just soak it all in and just enjoy it. And that's what I'm doing now. The problem with this location, it was just so grand. There were hills on either side. I thought I could get a few images, but when I got them into the computer, they were just kind of something and nothing. So we continued just to go for a walk and actually enjoy the morning. And yeah, walk off the muffins, the homemade muffins that the owner of the house had made for us. They were delicious. So we've just stopped off a place called Rogie Falls, and this is on the way to Dundonald, which is pretty much quite remote. We've just gone past a shop that says the last shop, just as well we've got some supplies in Inverness. So yeah, we've stopped for a Pizza Express. We're now heading through, but like I say, we're just going to stop at this waterfalls here. I've seen a couple of images, it looks quite impressive. What it will come like on the camera, not sure, but yeah, I'll take some images and see what we can get. The weather conditions haven't really improved much. It's still sort of overcast, it's very rainy and sort of grey. It's either grey or rain, one or the other. There has been a couple of bits where the sun's come out, but we've been travelling through. But yeah, let's go on this path and see what we can get. So we're just leaving the waterfalls now. Yeah, fantastic. Unfortunately, the bridge that goes across was out of action for whatever reason, probably maintenance work. So I managed to take a couple of images. As soon as I got there, the sunlight just started to hit through, and got some real amazing colour in the trees and the foliage around. Absolutely spot on. And another thing we witnessed as well, which was flying salmon. I've never seen salmon jumping before from a river. There was probably one every sort of 10 to 15 seconds. Tried to get a few shots of it, but you know what it's like, as soon as you get the camera out, any wildlife for me, they just disappear. But I've actually managed to see them with my own eyes, and I've got a glimpse of one on camera, which I'll show now. So we're going to head back to the car now and drive up to where are we going? Dundonald. I'm going to head up to the car now and head over towards Dundonald, which is where we're staying tonight. I'm not sure we'll be able to get anything else tonight. I think we're just going to head there, get something to eat, and yeah, relax for a little bit. So I'll probably join you in the morning. See you then. How nice is that light from the bathroom window coming in on my face here. So we stayed over in this bed and breakfast last night. The weather driving in was absolutely horrendous. So we're going to head over to Thurso for tonight, and today's just going to be, it's 170 odd miles that we've got to do, but there's no A roads, it's just all round B roads and stuff, so it's going to be one hell of a drive all the way through there. We're going to stop off a few places, but the weather conditions outside are absolutely horrendous. Again, high winds, so I'm probably not going to be able to speak much on the Osmo throughout today, because the wind noise I think will just be overpowering. So obviously I'll get some video as we go along, take some images, and we'll see what we can get on the way. So yeah, let's crack on. I'm not sure if you can hear me with the rush of the water, and I've got the wind just coming across this little peak here, but I'll duck down and yeah, still go with it. So I've just driven past this waterfall now, just on the way out of Dundonald, and the weather's so interchangeable. We've got we've had massive rainbows, and every time I've gone to take a shot of them, gone. And then the rain comes in, clouds over, then brilliant sunshine, mottled light, you name it. It's absolutely fantastic. But I've just got down here now, it's gone really, really great. So I'm just going to stay here for a couple of minutes. I've left Sarah in the car, yeah, sort of car duty, as I've headed down here with my my wellies on, and yeah, try and get a shot of this waterfall that's currently behind you guys. Wish me luck. Well, I'm back to the car. That location was absolutely pointless. You can't get anything down there. There's loads of compositions to be had, but as soon as I took the lens cap off, the rain started bucketing down straight into the front of the camera. So yeah, I've decided to quit from that location. The weather doesn't look as if it's giving any respite either. There's been some amazing sunshine, but with it also the driving rain, I say, just straight into the front of the lens. So yeah, so quit from that location. Woo! So Hope you're enjoying the vlog so far. So you now join the vlog where we're actually committed to the NC500. We joined it just before Ullapool, which is right on the west coast. So we're now going to head north and then head east across the top and then eventually get us into John O'Groats. I don't know why I'm looking there. I suppose I'm looking there because of my hand. So we knew this part of the journey was going to be the most challenging driving, but we didn't realise how much. Now, we'd stopped off the night before in Inverness to get a few snacks. We needed something to eat because the place we were staying previously was just a bed and breakfast, so there were no evening meals, and there weren't even any restaurants up and down the area. So yeah, it was a case of sandwich and a packet of crisps and bedtime. So stocked up with food, we headed off on this journey. I managed to stop off just on the outside of Ullapool to get this shot. And that was it. As soon as we returned to the car, the weather conditions just deteriorated the further we went onto the NC500, to the point of, I know we were just driving through clouds. I know the NC500 goes quite high around this point, but the visibility became zero. And unfortunately, I couldn't do any vlogging, I couldn't do any photography, which is something I really wanted to do. But the scenery was lost with just grey cloud and rain. And don't get me wrong, the roads are glorious. The parts we did manage to see were phenomenal, and I'm sure there's a lot more to be had. I'm going to have to return. So our next stop was just outside of Thurso, and the advantage of this, it was for 2 nights, something we should have done all the way around this trip. It was a place that we could actually sit and relax. It was a place where I could actually get everything dried off, cleaned off, and yeah, start my photography again. So I'll leave you now with a bit of footage from our drive going through the NC500. Hope you enjoy. Well, you can probably tell by that time lapse that the weather out there is absolutely as wild as it can be. It's absolutely glorious. So we've got so many rainbows that are popping up all over the place, and the wind is just so strong. It's around about 45-mile-an-hour gusts we've got coming through. So to try and actually vlog outside, yeah, I can't really do anything in a minute. You won't hear anything with the sound. So yeah, sort of safe in the little chalet we're staying at for 2 nights. So we're going to head down to Dunnett's Bay in the next couple of minutes and just sort of see what we can get there. There are glimpses of light that are coming through, so much more than there was yesterday. It was absolutely just grey and pouring down with rain. We did most of the NC 500 along the top of the coast, and honestly we couldn't see a thing, as you can probably tell by those videos. The weather was just bouncing all across the car. The windscreen wipers were on double speed most of the time. It was just horrendous across that road. And for a lot of you that have done the NC 500, you'll know that it's single lane tracks most of the way with passing points. Yeah, there was some puddles, there were some ridges, there was some, yeah, just horrendous driving. So I thought the best thing to do was actually get here as quickly as we could, so we can sort of sit down, relax, have a glass of wine, and yeah, just basically enjoy the holiday instead of it just being all about the vlog and all about the photography. So yeah, we're on stay number 4 now. Like I said, we're going to go down to the beach, sort of see what we can get, and then travel up towards John O'Groats, and then head further round towards the east coast, and then down and then back to this base for tonight. So yeah, let's see what we can get. So we just got to Dunnet Head, and as soon as we got here, the heavens have opened up again. The wind's quite strong as well. We can hardly open the car door to get out. So yeah, we're just going to let this rain pass first of all, and we can just see sort of sunshine shining in the distance. So yeah, that's one thing about today. The drama's really here. It's really what I love in my images. So yeah, come and join me once we can get out the car, and once this bit of rain passes, and yeah, keep dry, I think is the motto today. But yeah, Dunnet Head is where we're at. It's the most northerly point of the UK. So yeah, we'll see what this place has to offer. So we finally made it to John O'Groats, a place I've never been to. I've been to the other side, Land's End, a number of times, and for those of you who know me, know the channel, you'll know that I grew up in Cornwall. So Land's End, yeah, I've visited there quite a few times. But John O'Groats was quite special. I'm not sure whether it's a warm Scottish welcome, the cold Scottish weather, but yeah, there was something about that place that, yeah, just made you want to stay. We grabbed ourselves a coffee and some cake, and then headed over towards Duncansby, which is where the sea stacks are, which you'll see on the video in a moment.
Things I do for these vlogs. Ow! I've stood around the harbour wall as far as I can go now. Made it. Everything's south from here on in. Oh, it's horrible. Horrible and cold. By the rain behind me, I'm going to get drenched again, but yeah, I think this is going to be a day of just getting wet, dry, wet, dry, wet, dry, and this glorious scenery. I just love it. This is what it's about. And yeah, thanks for this here's view. Looks phenomenal. For sunset. I can't even speak, my jewel's gone. But yeah, it's I'm fed up of being battered, but I've been here for about 2 hours now, and I just want to get this last bit of light while I can. Hopefully, fingers crossed, please just give me something. I'll let you see them in a little bit.
gosh, I look as if I've not woken up yet. Probably because I haven't. We got home last night, the sunset just wasn't there. It became, well, you can probably tell by that weather, it just became worse and worse and colder. And I got soaking to the skin. It was absolutely freezing. The walk back to the car, yeah, it was something else. That wind was just constant. It never let up. So we ended up getting some fish and chips, sat here, watched a movie, and yeah, just sort of chilled out for a little bit. So today's a travel day. We're going to go to a place called Elgin, which is where Sarah was born. I'm sure there's going to be a plaque, this is where Sarah was born or something. So we're going to visit her original hometown. So it'd be quite nice for her, but I doubt there's going to be any photography done. I'll put a few little bits and pieces of B-roll on the vlog, and yeah, just so you can see Elgin, I suppose. But yeah, that's where we're going to head today. So today, I think it's going to be about 2 hours, or no, actually it's more, I think it's nearly 4 hours drive down to there. I don't think it's going to be that picturesque. So yeah, we're just going to crack on with the trip and head down. Unfortunately, this is the furthest north we're going to get. Obviously, John O'Groats is probably the first north you can actually get in the UK. So everywhere south from now on. I don't think it's going to be as picturesque. We've only got 2 more stops, which is Elgin and then Dundee, and then we're heading home on the Sunday. Today's currently Friday. So yeah, I think picture-wise, probably finished. I'm not sure. We'll see if there's anything else I can get from these locations we're going to visit today. And like I say, somewhere that I've never really been. I've been to Dundee before a couple of times, but yeah, from what I remember, it's not that picturesque. So see what we can get. But yeah, just packing up here now, and then we're yeah, got coffees ready. So get some coffees on the way, and yeah, I'll see you in a little bit. So we safely made it to Elgin, the birthplace of Sarah. And this is a place where Sarah hasn't been since I think she was 9 years old. So it was great to sort of explore the streets where she used to play, and sort of things were coming back to her as she was walking along. It was great to see. One thing I wanted to do in Elgin is relax and sort of just enjoy the atmosphere and sort of spend that time with Sarah. So we went out for dinner that night and we came back to the bed and breakfast, and I've got to say the bed and breakfast was absolutely outstanding. So the following morning we headed off to a place called Raf King Loss, and this is a place where Sarah's dad used to fly out of. He used to be in the RAF, and we knew very little about him apart from the fact he used to fly Nimrods. So we made a bit of a mission to try and get some detail on Sarah's father. He died a number of years ago, so it was great to sort of follow in his footsteps really. So as we arrived at Raf King Loss, there's an exhibition or sort of museum centre there that has a few sort of old disused helicopters. There's also a jet there, and yeah, quite a lot of history on the old RAF. One of the things that probably answered a lot of questions for Sarah as well, they had a section of a Nimrod, so it was great to go in and sort of understand what her dad did as a job. All the staff there are volunteers, and they were so helpful and so knowledgeable. It was absolutely fantastic walking around. I've got some footage of the walk around, so yeah, enjoy. And that was kind of it. That evening we drove to Dundee. We were just staying in a Premier Inn, just more of a stopover. And the following day we were heading home. The journey home. And I've got to say, Scotland has touched my heart. I've been there a number of times on business, I've driven through it quite a bit, but never really taken the time to actually explore. I can't believe I've actually got to my age and never really got into the depths of Scotland. This is something that's going to change though. I've absolutely fallen in love with the place. Yes, it's one heck of a drive to get up there. Yes, weather permitting, yeah, it can be quite brutal up there. But the warmth of the people, the beauty of the locations, the grandness of the mountain ranges, the countryside, the absolutely everything is just second to none. So as I sit here now, reviewing the footage I've got, having a look at the images I've taken, and yeah, really missing Scotland. What would I have done differently? I think the biggest bugbear was time. We didn't have enough time there. We set off on the Sunday and came back on the Sunday. We needed to double it at least. As we were driving back, one of the things we were discussing is what shall we do next when we head over towards Scotland. And we're thinking we're going to probably break it up between the west coast and the east coast. Maybe do one journey up to the west and then a separate journey up to the east. So like the road trip, this vlog has to end. This has been absolutely fantastic making. I've really enjoyed it and I'm sitting here now just almost as gutted as when I finished the trip. Now the vlog is ending. And I don't really know how to finish it. I could do the usual, yeah, please like, subscribe and whatever, but that kind of means nothing. I thoroughly enjoyed making this video. I hope you've enjoyed watching it, and thank you very, very much for coming on this journey with us on mine and Sarah's road trip around Scotland. Take care, all the best. Bye-bye now.